The Modern Warfare 3 post-launch story is pretty confusing, but I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the story from Seasons 1 through Season 6 of Modern Warfare 3 and tell you everything that you need to know about what is actually canon and what's not canon. So let's start off by talking about Modern Warfare 3 Season 1. The Season 1 update reintroduces Nolan. Now, Nolan was a character in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign that you actually played as in the very first mission of the campaign and later captured in order to interrogate him for information about Makarov. Nolan is Makarov's second in command. He is the kind of executioner of all of Makarov's plans. But what makes this really, really interesting is when you actually watch the cinematic, it shows that Nolan breaks out of the same interrogation room we saw him in Modern Warfare 3. So within 24 hours of being interrogated, he breaks himself out of this interrogation room and goes and rejoins with Konni. Now, once he's rejoined with Konni, and this is kind of after the Modern Warfare 3 campaign takes place, so Makarov's got shot, he's gone into hiding, so Nolan is the man in the field actually leading and executing all of these plans and operations that the Konni group has. And the biggest operation that they have is for Nolan to go to Urzikstan and start taking out high-value targets. We see in the trailer, he actually blows up a convoy that has either someone important or something important inside the convoy. As well as this, we see kind of throughout the map of Urzikstan itself, there's a bunch of scenes of where there was lots of firefights and damage and a lot of action going on. This first season really kind of builds the suspense that Nolan and Konni group are not going into hiding just because Makarov got injured. They still have a goal of destroying Urzikstan and the West, and they're doing this by starting off with the weaker target, Urzikstan. And this brings us into Season 2 of Modern Warfare 3. Now, this season has kind of two major themes going on. The first is that the Konni group has now expanded their operations and their terror attacks outside of Urzikstan itself. They have a bunch of different locations around the world where they are attacking kind of not necessarily simultaneously, but in quick succession. So Ghost and Kate Laswell are traveling around the world trying to stop Konni group in all these different attacks and locations they're doing and really try to stop their reign of terror. Now, what's going on in the background, the second story that we have through the season is kind of it's not necessarily a B story, but it's supposed to be a look into the mind of Ghost. Throughout the Season 2 cinematics and trailers, we see that there's this kind of gold and purple figure following Ghost around the battlefields that he goes to all across the world. But it's not an actual person. It's not someone that he actually fights. It is a manifestation of Ghost's own personality. We hear him say in the trailer,
I'm a warfighter. I am the company I keep. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death and come out the other side. Sometimes you fight the devil in disguise. Sometimes you are the devil in disguise.
That last line reveals that the person who's been following Ghost around all these different battlefields is a manifestation of Ghost himself, the part of him that enjoys doing these bad things. This whole kind of trailer and cinematic right here is just Ghost coming to terms with who he is as a soldier, what he does, and that he is not a bad person because of what he does, but instead, he is a good person who has to do bad things. It was a really interesting side plot that Call of Duty tried to show the mentality of a soldier and really show what it's like to reaffirm to yourself that you're doing the right thing despite killing people. But anyways, let's go on to the next season, Season 3. Now, Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3 was a little bit of a mess because a lot of people really didn't like that there was no story with the cinematic, or at least it didn't appear that way. The cinematic really appeared as a way to kind of market all these bundles Call of Duty was adding in Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3. But there is a story that's actually being told with the cinematics and throughout Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3 that was not necessarily as upfront and in your face as, say, Modern Warfare 2019's story. Season 3 reintroduces Makarov and shows what he has been up to since the end of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. After getting injured, he fled to Rebirth Island, which is now a home for Konni, where they're manufacturing weapons and armaments for all of his Konni troops. We even see him making gas at this facility right here. This season was designed in a way that shows this Rebirth Island was taken over by Konni. It's been developed into this massive manufacturing facility for the Konni troops. And as a result, after the end of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, Makarov fled back to Rebirth Island and kind of started rebuilding his forces and remanufacturing all these tools and equipments that he needs for his soldiers. But what the cinematic itself shows us is that Task Force 141 has learned that Makarov is on Rebirth Island. Task Force 141 is now going to Rebirth Island to try to capture or kill Makarov. And what's really interesting about this season is that at the beginning of the Resurgence match, you will sometimes see a jet come in and blow up either the prison or the water tower or this lighthouse, or even sometimes crash into the water. What this was actually supposed to be is canonically, Task Force 141 comes in with jets ahead of time to blow up and kind of destroy some elements of the island, allowing them to have an easier assault on the island and try to capture Makarov. But as we see in the Season 3 cinematic, at the end of the trailer, Makarov just gets on a helicopter and gets the hell out of there. And really, the season didn't add a lot to the story, but it did reintroduce that Makarov is around and he is trying to rebuild Konni's forces. Now, Season 4. This was a season that confused a lot of people and frustrated a lot of people. Now, Season 4 brought back Soap, and now if you played the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, and if you haven't, spoiler warning, Soap dies at the end of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. So seeing Soap return confused and frustrated a lot of people because he got shot in the head. How do you bring someone back from that? Well, this entire season was actually a flashback. It does not take place in the current time. It is set in May of 2022. This whole season is set within a flashback where we see the Konni group attempting to set off chemical weapons in major population centers around the world, like Tokyo, Paris, and Urzikstan. And one of the things that's really interesting is that this season directly ties into Modern Warfare 3 in a bigger way than most people understand. We see that in 2022, Soap goes into a kind of abandoned nuclear reactor facility and goes underground to discover that there are chemical weapons being stored under this facility. Now, this whole DNA bomb and all that kind of other stuff that's happening right there is just Call of Duty trying to spice up the season. The story of the season is that Ghost is trying to deactivate all these chemical weapons around the world that Konni has set up. And one of these locations is under a nuclear reactor in Urzikstan. In the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, Captain Price actually infiltrates a separate nuclear reactor facility and discovers that under this facility, General Barkov has been storing chemical weapons, something we see happen again in Season 4 of Modern Warfare 3. This paints an interesting background picture. General Barkov was storing chemical weapons underneath different nuclear facilities throughout all of Urzikstan in an effort to kind of keep and hide his stockpiles around that he could go use them whenever he needed. But as we see in the trailer, all these chemical weapons have been armed and placed in major population centers around the world, and Soap and his different teams are trying to stop the detonation of these weapons. And the Season 4 cinematic ends with Soap saying it's too late to defuse the bomb, we need to get out of here. And then we kind of jump cut to the Season 4 Reloaded update. The Season 4 Reloaded update showed us that Tokyo and Paris, these other kind of major population centers where Konni was trying to set off gas weapons in 2022, were in fact defused, and those did not go off. But the location in Urzikstan was a little more fortified than Soap was expecting, and as a result, the chemical weapon did detonate. However, all the kind of DNA bomb and mutation stuff that we see afterwards is really kind of not canonical. It's more to show that the gas has been a persistent problem throughout all of the Modern Warfare games, and it adds a little bit more kind of context to the background of Soap. Soap knew how to defuse the bombs at the end of Modern Warfare 3 in this underground subway system because Soap had already been trained on how to defuse bombs like this before. And as a matter of fact, he knows it was successful in their defusal because he had already had 2 different teams defuse bombs in both Tokyo and Paris. This season really adds a lot more background context to the Modern Warfare story as a whole than what we originally saw. Soap knows about the gas bombs and how to defuse them because he's tried to do it before. And General Barkov has massive stockpiles of chemical weapons in abandoned nuclear reactors and nuclear facilities around Urzikstan that Task Force 141 may have thought was only a one-off scenario back in 2022. But after the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, they might send some teams to go check out all these nuclear reactor sites in Urzikstan and find out if there's really chemical weapons being stored under these facilities. Now, Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3 did not advance the story all that much, but it did add some interesting context to the kind of background and setup for Modern Warfare 4. We see in the Season 5 cinematics that Valeria actually goes and lands in Urzikstan with her team and is there to reinforce the Konni group. Meaning she's not going there because she's trying to make some drug deal. She's not going there because she's trying to get power. Her and Vladimir Makarov are directly working together. Now, this takes place at some point after Nolan has already started his assault in Urzikstan, and it's probably going on a little bit longer than Makarov intended. So he has called in reinforcements from someone he feels owes him one. Valeria, who shows up with her troops to kind of help break up what's going on and try to stop Task Force 141. This season kind of really reaffirms that Valeria and the Los Alamos cartel are working with Vladimir Makarov and the Konni group because if terrorism is a bigger threat than the drug cartels, then they can sell more drugs. So Valeria has no reason not to help Vladimir Makarov. Now this brings me to Season 6. Season 6 of Modern Warfare 3 is a throwaway season. It is a season made entirely for fun, and really there's no context of what's going on. It's just a season made around, hey, it's Halloween. That's the theme of Season 6. It's Halloween. But when you take a step back and you look at all the seasons 1 through 6, you start to develop this story. The post-launch story for Modern Warfare 3 really kind of confirms a couple things. Valeria and Vladimir Makarov are 100% working together, and Vladimir Makarov, after being defeated in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, has retreated in order to rebuild his troops and rebuild his arsenal in order to achieve his objectives. And it's all building towards developing the story before Modern Warfare 4 that really paints a clear picture that Makarov is going to try to be a bigger threat in Modern Warfare 4 than he was in Modern Warfare 3. And personally, I wasn't as big a fan of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign because it did feel very rushed and very incomplete. But the Modern Warfare 3 post-launch story gives me hope that Modern Warfare 4 is going to be really good. But we have Black Ops 6 releasing here in a couple weeks, so make sure you subscribe for all the information about Black Ops 6 and click right here if you want to know why you are the villain of Black Ops 6. So until next time, I am Icebergs, your Call of Duty informant. Stay frosty.